What up? Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Gold Rush Weekly. So I'm gonna get right into it because looking at my list right now, there's a lot of afternoon doing this. So all right. So looking at the market, look at SPX. There. So looking at SPX, we're still obviously in the broadening down formation, and so I think that and then just looking at what price tells us, right? Forget about thoughts, opinions, and all that stuff. Just looking at what price tells us about where it's been and where it's so. If you look at the monthly, which is up here, we've broken above the highs of last month. After testing new lows, we've broken above and made new highs, right? So prices discovering wait. Uh, so based on what I see here, I mean, we can target this high here of the month of September, which was 41.1928, or we can come and kind of target this top of this broad information here, where coincidentally where the 200 day is. If you look over to the right, the 200-day moving. So I think that's where that's the next test based on where we are. Um, it looks like most of the gaps have filled. There's a small gap to fill on the weekly, right over here. Small gap right there, which is the same gap you see here on the daily. So at some point, maybe that'll get filled. But for now, I think that the numbers came in. CPI numbers came in pretty low, lower than expected. I think they were like 7.8 or something like that. I personally was expecting like an 8.2. So we got low CPI print, which caused the market to rally like crazy. On that another little gap right here to fill. So I think we'll probably go for this gap, get rejected by the 200, and from there kind of pick a direction where we're going. So yeah, I mean with SPX, SPY, ES, all you can really do is just trade what's in front of you. Right? Don't pay any bias. Just trade what's right in front. Otherwise, you're gonna lose. Right? Otherwise, that's how you lose money. You go in with a bias. And first, number one job as a trader is to protect our capital. So, what are you doing? So that's what I see for SPX. I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into the list. Actually, real quick, let's look at some of last days. Real quick. So, if we just focus on, let's just focus on this the bottom left chart. For the recap, so the bottom left chart is what we're looking at. So we're looking at the weekly chart on the bottom left. So Starbucks, it did exactly what we wanted it to do. It held this gap. And from there kind of broke out, made new highs, made like a $4 move. So Starbucks did it. We played Starbucks. I don't even know how much profit we took off of that. Cat went insane. Cat continued to go insane. Right? We had this prior, and then broke that downtrend, and now it just kept running. It tested the previous pivot over here on the week of April the 18th. So I'll be watching for it to break out of that pivot to then try to test all-time highs. Right? Cat is very, very close to his all-time highs. Right? Definitely top watch. You look at JP Morgan, another green week. It just continued to move up just as we expected. LRCX gave us a monster move. I mean, it did. We had the inside up, the two back-to-back up weeks, and we got a third up week that went absolutely bananas, right? So this was a monster trade. This went from 2.6. These 450s went from 2.6 to like $50. Crazy. So monster trade. CVS didn't quite do anything for us. I mean, it did expand its range to the upside, but it also came back down. Ended in a red candle, so not much there unless you played puts. But I wasn't really looking at it for puts. So nothing on the radar. Nvidia is another one that went insane for us. It put in a crazy up week. It broke the range and it broke out above that ascending channel that I drew here. Right, this channel on the daily broke right through it. Right, so I mean, we're at the point now with Nvidia where it can easily kind of slow down, pull back, and test the top of the channel, test the top of this 100-day. We'll see. But I love how much volume came into those last 2 days, especially when it broke through that 100-day. And so we'll see what happens. And we're also got this bullish cross right here with the 20 and the 50, right? So that's a bullish sign. So I'm not expecting it to pull back. If it does, then we have some targets, right? We have the top of the channel. We also have this 100-day, but I'm not fully expecting it to pull back at. To be honest with you, the way that LRCX is moving, Nvidia is moving, AMD, I don't expect that sector right now to pull back. Bristol Myers gave us what we wanted, right? I think we took the 80 calls. I think we took them on Monday, and they went and got in the money. They paid out, but then the hard rejection. So if you held on to it, you definitely lost it, or you gave your money back, right? Moderna, monster week, broke through the channel, and now we're in an area where we're gonna start to test some of these previous resistance levels. So I'll be watching that again this week. And Tesla went down as expected. It came down to the 180 level. We started the week with 190 puts, which got in the money, I think, after the second day, and continue to pay for the rest of the week. So based on last week's plays, a lot of pretty much everything hit except for CVS. CVS was one of the ones that didn't quite do what we expected it to do. But let's go into this week now. I have a lot, so I'm just gonna go through. If anybody has anything they want to question, or you guys want anything to look at anything, just go ahead and just stop me, right? Just stop me. But the first one on the list is Costco. All right. So for Costco, I'm seeing. So I always, again, this worked out well last week, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing this week. I'm looking at the monthly. I start with the monthly first, then go to the weekly, daily, and so this monthly is showing me that we broke the previous resistance to the upside. Now we're still within the range of this big red candle, September's price action, but we broke above the previous month's high, right? So that's good. That's bullish. That's it. Nothing else to be said, right? On the weekly, we put in a bullish engulfing last week, and we tested the range. We expanded the range from here, came down, and then worked our way back up. So now we can easily, based on what I'm seeing here, we can easily, cool down and come right back to the bottom of this range very easily, right? However, I think that Costco is in a really good place based on the fact that obviously it's already done by reporting earnings. It's reported earnings a couple of weeks back. And right now it's sitting in a really, really nice spot on the chart. It's sitting right above the 200-day, above the 100-day, obviously. And then you're about to get some of these lower time frame crosses very soon with all this volume that came in, right? So CPI numbers came in lower, and that means that people are spending a little bit more. And where are they going to spend their money? They're going to spend their money in Costco. So I think Costco lines up well with a good inflation play. Not necessarily a hedge, but just a good volatile play, right? Something that's going to move a lot, something that we want. So Costco, well, you got the break to the upside on the monthly, the bullish engulfing on a weekly. Then we have this gap up here, gap and go, right, with good volume on a daily. So the only thing I'm really worried about is this level here, where we had previous previous support, kind of where it's rejecting right now, right? Previous support in the past, and it's currently rejecting that area. So it rejected hard and if you look at the intras, we have this kind of cup and handle, inverse head and shoulders, cup and handle, however you see it, whatever makes sense to you, right? It rejected pretty hard at the open after gapping up, and then it found support on the 100-day, and then it bounced from there, right? So it's looking healthy. It kind of ignored the 200, which I like. It's just going right through the 200, no problem. But now I want to see it get through this area of previous support. Okay, so above that area, previous support, I think that it can come back to test the top of this candle here at 532.24. And it really needs to get above this range right here. This is the range. This range. So it might just be uninteresting for the next couple of weeks, for the next week, until it's above this range, right? Maybe it tries to test it and falls hard, right? Who knows? But anyway, I like Costco. I think that I'm a little bit more in tune with it nowadays. And I like what I see on the monthly and the weekly, especially. So that's something that I want to keep my eyes on, and we should we should all keep our eye. All right. The next one I have on my list is Starbucks. And again, we went over Starbucks, but I think it has more there's more coffee left in the cup, right? um so we have strong support here, big move up, 3 weeks of indecision or 3 months of indecision, and finally a breakout out of that zone, right? We had earnings, we had dividend already pay out, right? So all of the catalysts are complete. Now it's time for this thing to move in one direction or the other. Now I think it's going to continue to move up. I think that it's going to stop at, I think that 100 is a target for Starbucks. I think that, and looking back on the monthly, it was at a high of 126, right? So we're not too far off the highs, but I think that what we're going to do is test this resistance level here at 99.10, and then from there go to 100, right? 100 is going to be a hard psychological level to break. From there we can kind of decide what's going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my I'm going to go ahead and set an alert for the high of Friday right here. Add my alert. There's my alert. Now, what I want to see it do is break the high of Friday and then break this 99.15, which it can probably do in one candlestick, right? And then from there, I'm going to be watching it for 100. If it breaks 100, it's going to go, right? It's going to go probably another few dollars, right? Maybe $1 or $2 more. If it rejects 100, then it has a long way to come down. There's a little bit of gaps in here too to fill. So reject 100, it could put easily a 5-point day to the downside. Looking at the daily, there's a lot of sellers in this area right here, right? But all the sellers were all in the beginning of the day. It wasn't like it sold off like crazy at the end of the day. I mean, it kind of did, but it went sideways for a bunch. So it stayed within the range of the day. Even though it sold off at the bottom at the end of the day, it still stayed within the range. It didn't make a new low, so that's good, right? So I'll continue to watch Starbucks. I like let's look at the 100 contracts. I don't know if you guys can stop streaming for a second. Give me 1 second. All right, you guys should be able to see full screen now. So I switched over to my TOS to look at the chains. So let's look at, and I mean, we were looking at 11, 18, 92, 94, 95, 96. And all of those are in the money. And they all, like the 96 was 92 cents, 96 cents. It's now sitting at $2.45. So you would have made good money on any one of those chains up and down there. So I'm interested in the 98s are attainable. They can get in the money very quickly. Pretty much at the open, they can get in the money. So you can buy that and hold that if you want. And I think I like the hundreds as well. Look at all this open interest and volume. I have 43.95 contracts volume, 49.35. So open interest stayed above volume, but volume is closing in on pretty quick. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people don't really trade Starbucks, so I find that interesting. But I like the 98s and the hundreds for this week. And if you want to go out a week, maybe get the hundreds for next week, just between $1.03 and $1.07. So I'll be looking at the hundreds for this week and for next week, right? 98 calls. Those are the ones that I'm in. And next week is going to be interesting because we have a 4-day week. So, so you got to be careful because there's more volatility usually on those short weeks. And theta takes your money much. Those are the ones that I'll be watching. These contracts right here. Right. So that's Starbucks. The next one that I have on my list is Cat. Yeah, Cat's been a monster for us. I think there's a second week in a row that we've been playing it. If you look at any of these, I mean, most of these, let's see, 11, 18, 240 call. Let's see what 11, 18, 240. is now about 250, 255, right? So nice move up. I think that, so if you look at the monthly, we broke up above the previous high of the previous month. And then we're testing some of these. We actually made a higher high on this month than we did way back in April. So we broke April pivot. And again, cat is sitting right underneath its all-time highs, right? I think that the magical number here is 250. I don't know if it's going to make it this week. It might need a week to rest, right? Because it's just been back to back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back to back new highs every week, right? 7 weeks straight. So it might need a day, like, a couple weeks to rest, or maybe a week, or whatever the case. Especially now that it's broken above these pivots, it might just chill within this range. So I'm going to be watching it to kind of sit within this range and see what it does. I'll set my alert for the 238.40. 238.40 is where I'm going to set my alert. Now, this ticker, what I love about this ticker is that it makes crazy moves. It has wide spreads on the contracts, but it makes crazy moves. So what that means is, even if you overpay for a contract, if you're patient and you catch the move the right way, you're going to be in profit mostly. And cat goes from like up 20% to up 100% in minutes. It's really insane. I'll be watching. And now that, especially now that it's you got some golden crosses going on here. You got the 20 crossing through the 100, 200. You got the 20 crossing through every single one of them, right? And then you got the 50 starting to cross through. The 50 crossed through the 100 this week, and it looks like it's going to cross through the 200 in a couple of weeks. Maybe by next week we'll get that. We'll be talking about a golden cross, right? The real golden cross, which is the 50 through the 200. So I like it. I'll be watching again. I'll be watching the 250s. I'm gonna edit this to the 250 calls for this week and the 250 calls. Look at the price. 250s for this week are between 43 and 53 cents. For this week, I'll probably go, since they're so cheap, I'll probably go a little bit closer. I'll probably go to like the 242s or even the 240s. There's a lot of open interest on the 240s, so maybe that's safer, obviously the safer play, right? So the 240s for this week is a safer play. 250 is much riskier just because it's so much further out. However, this is the one that will pay you, right? You load up on these, buy a 10-pack or something, and then 20% trim 5 of them, 40% trim 2 of them, let 1 run, 3, whatever the math is on that. At the end of it, like 20% trim, 30% trim, 50% trim, and then let the rest of it. And this, with a 10-point move, you turn $53 into $267. It does it in one day, right? Cat can do that. Cat can do it. So I like those. Let's see what we have for next week. I would probably stay at the 245s for next week, or 245s, 250 next week. Pretty much anything in this range here, any of these three are good for next week. That's if we get the continuation move, right? 245 is very important. If it slows down, if it goes sideways, if it doesn't immediately break the high of day and start forming a green day, then I wouldn't get into next, because you're gonna get a better price. But whatever I see, I'll make sure that I call it out. The next one that I have is JP Morgan. And again, this is like, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We made money on these last week, and if they're gonna continue to pay them, we're gonna make money again on this week. I'm not trying to like, oh, we already played those, so we can't play them again. We're here to make money. So the monthly continuation, right? We're breaking up. We actually broke above the pivot here, which was the first target that I wanted. Right, this morning, this evening star reversal candlestick here, pattern, the weekly, what I was targeting. We went right through it. And now the next one is going to be the high of April. So we're a lot of these stocks are breaking through April's highs, right? April's like kind of where we are now in terms of price action. So that's really good, right? I mean, it might be short-lived, but right now that's the target. The high is 137.41. If you look at the weekly, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back-to-back weekly highs, right? All new highs. And now we're fully out of the box. We're out of this kind of range here. Do we come back and test it? Maybe. Do we from there? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But I do like that it kind of found resistance here, fell down hard, and then gapped up on CPI. Now, again, the reason why a lot of these tickers moved up is because we had a good CPI this month rather. That being said, I think we're gonna have some. We might potentially have some drift in which we move up for a day, 2 days, 3 days. Something finds some hard resistance. I mean, SPX is above 4,000 right now. Right? Am I right about that? Yeah, it's sitting at. Oh, it's sitting right under 4,000. Let's see what. And ES is sitting right under 4,000. So we are at that resistance level where if we don't reclaim 4,000 immediately, then we'll drop pretty hard. So it could be short lived. It could be a week of consolidation. Who knows, right? Who knows? So, but everything is over. The big earnings are over. Election is over. CPI printed. So right now, I think that if the market decides to pick a direction, we're gonna stay with that direction for the whole week, right? At least 1 week. So I'll be watching JPM for a continuation to the upside. We look at the contracts. I mean, the 133s and the 135s for this week. They're both in the money. $3.40 on the 133s, $2 on the 135s, coming from $1.87 and $1.20. So not bad. Not a bad move. About 50% on the 133s and about 60 cents 135. So not a bad move. I would be targeting the 140s this week. Keep it right. 11, 18, 140 call. Even if you want a little bit more safety, again next 40 call. Cost. So there's a lot of OI, a lot of volume on the 140s. They're very cheap. I typically don't like playing these prices unless it's like a Friday. So let's do the 11, 18, 138 is safer. 11, 18, 140 a bit riskier. 140 is next week, probably. Let's look at next week. 140s are about 76 cents. 138s about 36. You can run the same play. You can run the same exact play. Either one of those. So if we get the continuation in the market, next week's contracts don't have a lot of volume in open. By next week, I mean 11/25. There's not a lot of activity on it, but if you want to buy some safety, go ahead and just jump in. Trying to be the first party. When the party fills up, obviously value. This week, you see everyone's at the 138 and 140. You could easily just play 138 and 140 for next week, based off of this Y and volume, right? Broke up the resistance. Some selling over here. You look at the daily, just kind of fighting. Right? Sellers step in here, 7 or 8 days of selling. So it's important that we stay above this level, or even if we stay in the box, right? That's fine. But if we push down below this box, we're probably gonna fall pretty hard. So I would just keep that in mind. All right. Next one I have a bunch more, guys. So I'm just gonna try to fly through. Next one I have is LRCX. LRCX, like I said, went crazy for us last week. I see a continuation. I'm targeting I'm targeting this point get back up to 532 level, which is August high, also the high of June, right? So that's what I'm targeting for this. We got to break above this little downtrend that we have right here. So let's see. I mean, everything is pretty much the same. Upside on the month, right? Broke up above the previous highs of the month. 1, 2, 3, 4 back-to-back weeks of higher highs, with the acceleration occurring last week, breaking through previous resistance. There was a tiny gap that was filled. Now the first thing we gotta do is take out that morning, evening star. If we look at this on a two-week time frame, this will be an evening star. So take out 522.55, take out 532. There we can 5. And that's it. I mean, I wanted to see it continue. It might pull back and test that 200, right? It might pull back and test the 200 depending on what the market does, what chips do, right? But for now, I see it continuing. It closed out pretty strong, and just a little bit of sell pressure at the end of the day, right? Not crazy. Not even a lot of volume on that, so I like it to continue. I won't look at the contracts now because they're going to be way different at the open. Especially these contracts they can be kind of widespread, so I wouldn't even bother. But if you liked it, if you played it this week, or if you want some of that action where you went from $2.60 all the way to on day one, right? On day one, it went from Monday to Tuesday. It went from 2 to 15. The next day, it went to the next day it went to like 10 because it pulled back, and then the next day it went to 30, and then the final day it went to 50. So if you like that action, then I'll keep LRCX on the radar. You see, we got the 20 crossing through the 50, and everything's curling up. The 100's curling up. The 200 is flattening. So I like it. LRCX is a fun play, right? Next one is X. If we look at X on the, that's why, because I have a million drawings on. If you look at X on the monthly, we broke above previous high, right? We had an inside month, right? So the range of this candle was within the range of that candle, right? October inside the range. So, but making higher highs, obviously, higher lows and lower highs. And now on this week, we actually broke above this month, broke the inside bar to the upside. Looks kind of like a bull flag breakout. And now we're headed back into this area of consolidation. So I like it for the continuity on the time frames, right? We have bullish month, bullish week. We have a gap on a day. Now we're gonna see what it does at this 200. I mean, that's what it keeps rejecting, is that 200. So I'll be watching the 200. I'm gonna go ahead and set it there. We'll be watching the 200. I mean, if you played it with us on Friday, X went from, I think, $20 a contract to like $1, $1, 20 cents to $1. So which is a 400% gain. So nice trade on Friday. I'll continue to watch it. I need it above that 200. If it doesn't hit the 200, go right through it like butter, then it's probably gonna reject and fall right back down to this trend line. So either way, we're gonna make money on it. It's just a matter of letting it react. I like it. I always look at X and CLF together because they're competitors. They're in the same exact industry. I want you to look at the monthly and the weekly. Right? If you look at the monthly and the weekly, right now we have not broken the previous month's high and have not broken the week's pivot. Right? We're still within the downtrend on CLF. If you look at X, X is a different direction. Broken the previous, broken the pivot, headed towards the next area. Right? So X is showing good relative strength. If X wakes up, CLF is gonna go insane. Right? So I'll be watching X for it to kind of continue to move and really go above the 200 day before potentially looking at a CLF sympathy. And CLF looks really good. I mean, we obviously have this downtrend here, right? We're in this pretty clear downtrend. It's almost like a falling wedge, and we're at the bottom of that broadening formation as well, right? You got the kind of like a falling wedge, and then you have, if you look at the intradays, it tested the 20, pulled back, got above it, tested the 50, and went right through it, right? and now we're kind of just sitting on top of VWAP, holding VWAP all day with some buy pressure. So I mean, sellers came in and sold it off, but it held VWAP nonetheless. So I want to see. I'll be watching X as a leading indicator, the CLF. Um, watch them both. Put them both on your chart. I think at one point CLF was stronger in the morning, and then X just kept going. So keep them both on your chart if you like it. It's obviously a cheap play. It's $15. So which I don't really love playing tickers that are that cheap anymore. But when you have the opportunity to put in a day like this and turn $20 into $100, you're gonna take the opportunity. So that's what I like for X and CLF in terms of the contracts. I mean, again, I just want to see what it does at the 200 day, so I'm not gonna touch it yet. I won't even bother really looking at the contracts after above the 200 day. But if we do get above the 200 day, you can play that in the monies at you can play at the money at $25. It'll rip up if it can get above that 200 day. I'll be targeting that pivot there and that. Then we got a nice little bunch of little gaps here. Once we get above this 26.64, we can really go crazy. So I'll be watching the 200 day, and then those are my levels for ups. And then downside, I mean, we'll just play it as it comes. What I find with this ticker is this is one of the tickers that if you play as close to the money as possible, and then you'll get paid, but if it makes a move, then you get real, like for real paid, right? So so just keep it close. If you like it, keep it close. I keep it on my watch list. I have some leaps in this that that's the reason why I can constantly watch it, because I open my portfolio and say, oh, X is moving today, it's paying me today, let's see what it's doing, right? So I'm usually have a good eye on it. The next one's Chewy. Chewy is I was a little scared to call Chewy on Friday. I watched it pop, but I didn't see a lot of volume come in, and also I don't think that the chains are very liquid. I think that's what chains. I mean, this isn't looking bad, but it was looking pretty bad at the beginning. It was like 40-cent spread. So Chewy has not broken up on the monthly yet. Chewy has not made a new high of new monthly high yet. We're still within the range of last month. However, this is a nice hammer that's formed. A lot of buyers came in, they like it, they broke way back up to the price. So we haven't broken the previous month's high, but I mean it's right here, right? It's just a couple of weeks, it's a couple dollars away. And we did break above the previous week's high, and we actually put in a bullish engulfing. That's the only reason this is on my list, because of this bullish. I saw what it did on Friday. I usually I think the time frame continuity isn't there yet, but I mean if we're a little early to it, I think that might be fine. What that means is we might want to buy a little bit more. Well, yeah, we were looking at 38 calls and the 40 calls back in October, and so I mean we didn't get a good week this week. We definitely got a nice week this week. It looks like it's choosing a direction, it's holding the trend, and so now we need the confirmation by taking out this pivot. I'm not even gonna really touch it until it breaks above that pivot. I just wanted to be on everyone's radar. I think that we can get in early on this. If you're risky, you can go ahead and just buy it at the open. Hopefully, it goes in your direction. What I'll be targeting for this is these weekly highs. I wanted to take out 43.33. I wanted to trade within this range. Try to top it. So they have earnings coming up in the second week of December, so about a month away, exactly a month away. And I mean, look at that bounce, right? Only thing I'm not in love with is not a lot of volume relative to the candlestick size. Like I was expecting a size like this, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not crazy. It's above average, but it's not like crazy. I want to see crazy bars. So maybe they come in after it breaks the pivot. Who knows, right? But I like Chewy. I would probably play as close to the money as possible. The 4150s are probably good to play. The 42s are probably good to play, and then the 43s are probably good to play. Anything between 4150 and 40. the 43 looks like it's the most interesting one. A lot of people are in the 45s as well. I think that's far. Yeah, I mean, 45 is all the way up here. Possible for the week, but 45 is over here. Possible to do it this week if it continues. I personally like the 43s a lot better. I like the open interest. I like the spreads. I like the price. I would play the 43 personally. Play the 11, 18, 43 call. 11, 18, 45 call. Much risk. November 25th. Play the 45. And they're cheap. That's cheap as hell. 80 cents. Cheap. Or you could also play the same. You could also play the same 43 calls. Run the same play next. Right? You could run the same exact play. By the way, whatever you want to do, whatever you want. I think that probably the 43s are good for both weeks. Buy time and let it run up. Even about it. You buy it on a Monday. Don't even look at it for a few days unless it's dying. But as long as it's maintaining trend, then you're good. Higher lows and higher highs on the call side. Higher lows and higher highs. So you can expect it to pull back, but as long as the pullback isn't lower than down here. I have a few more. Let me see. Do you guys have anything you want to look at? Let's break this up. Do you guys have anything that you want to para para PARA. All right, so Paramount Global. Paramount Global. Paramount. This is a meme name. Para was moving with Comcast. That's where okay. Downgrades. Paramount Global's chief financial officer to participate in 2022 RBC Capital Markets was like BET. Oh, they own BET. November 1st, CEO exercise. Okay. Para. All right. So let's look at looking at Para. Yeah. All right. So looking at Para. Right now we have an actionable signal on the monthly, which is hammer. I don't necessarily love the setup quite yet, but what I want to see is, so we have a bunch of buyers. A bunch of buyers came in, and that's after earnings. Earnings gap down last week. We filled the gap this past week on Friday. And we're above the 20-day, which we haven't been above the 20-day for quite a long time. We were above it here, but not really, right? It didn't hold. So I'm looking for it to see if it can hold that 20-day. A bunch of sellers stepped in on the end of the day, even after it kind of pulled back hard on this candlestick. We remained within the range of this one candle, so that's pretty good, right? Bunch of sellers. Even if there's a bunch of volume came in, but it didn't bring us back down below the range of this candle, or down to VWAP, or down to the 20. It held right here, so that's a good sign. That means that we might continue to move up. Now, what I want to do is I want to see it go up above the previous week's high. That'll be my trigger. Actually, at this point, the trigger is going to be the high of this week, right? The trigger is going to be the break of the high of Friday. Take it, and then from there you kind of play the levels. Last week's high, and then the previous that previous level that we've been struggling. Right. So You want to take it above this week's high, into next week's high, to that previous. Now, the reason why I don't love this ticker and why I probably, unless it's like, if it's a meme and it's gonna go insane, cool, like fine. But I don't love it only because technically we're still in a downtrend. We haven't formed a higher high yet. Like this is the lower high. We have to break through the 50 before we can start to reverse trend. This is a very nice move with good volume and a lot of volume on the daily. If you look at the daily, lots of volume came in on that earnings report, and then a lot of volume came in to kind of fill that gap up. So that's a good sign. But my thing is, it's a $20 stock, so you really need to play at the money and let it give you the move for the entire day. Like if you would have got it on this day and caught the move the entire day, great. Or even on this day and then swung it, great, right? Now, again, this is a meme name. That's where I'm familiar with this. When Comcast was going, when Viacom and all these weird things that you never play were running earlier in the year, or maybe it was I don't even remember when. Maybe it was last year. Maybe it was earlier. This was one of the ones that kind of moved on a sympathy. So, so that being said, if you're gonna play it, if like a lot of FinTwit is talking about it, or Reddit or wherever is talking about it, then just make sure you're securing profit, right? Like buy a handful of contracts and be fast to sell, because if you end up holding these being greedy, you'll end up losing a lot of money. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of volume and open interest as I expected. This week's 19s, and then this week's 20s have a lot of volume, crazy volume, right? So with this, I would, just like I do with every other meme, I would play as close to the money as possible. I would probably play the 19s at this point, right? Play the 19s. And then you really need like a $2 move. A $2 move in order for this to make you 100%. Just keep that in mind. From 80 cents to $1.70, it's $1.50 move, $2 move to be safe. So this thing needs to really, really move, and it did. I mean, it moved on this day. It moved from a low of 16 to a high of 19. So it moved $3 Friday. So you just need another move like that. Now, what I would do is, and based on the way it looks, there's no after hours activity on this, but based on the way it looks, this looks like it could potentially move, like open strong, right? The fact that like more people are on it. Nobody was watching it back on this day. I'm sure some people started watching it when it gapped up here, right? And then obviously we have our eyes on it now. You guys are probably talking about it on Friday, but as more and more people pile into this is going to start to, if it's a real squeeze, it'll start to kind of go insane pre-market. So if you're not in, I'll wait for it to see what it does at this 50-day, right? See if it comes out to the 50-day to test it. Maybe just if you want to buy it, it's cheap enough that you could just buy it and hold it for a week. And even next week's contracts are just about the same price. 20s are pretty good. 19s are pretty good. Pretty big spread, but that's. I would play the 19s. I'll play the 19s, and then the way that I would play it is I would play this week 19 call. I would play this week. Sell the 19s as you're getting ready to sell the 19s. Buy the 20s, right? Like if you scale out of the 19s and they're still giving you profit, then scale into the 20s, and then sell your last 19, and then buy your last 20, right? Also, I'm gonna, and in full disclosure, I'm gonna stay away from. I'm gonna stay away from it personally because I don't have good luck with memes, especially since I'm always like constantly watching other things. I can't really watch it all day. So what you can do is you can set your sells, like buy it at a certain price and say, all right, I want 50%. Let me just set my sell price. Let me calculate what the 50% change is, right? If I bought it for $1, then I'm gonna sell it for $1.50. Set my limit sell order, send it up, and then let it go, right? The other thing is, so with memes, and maybe I'm just maybe I got hurt by power or something. I'm calling it a meme, but the way that my experience is, if you buy these things, you buy as close to the money as possible and buy as much time as possible, right? Buy as much time as possible, because what happens is, and especially like you don't see me calling out weed plays anymore, because those things they're just not they're not good, right? So I would buy like even like next month, December 16th. Look how much open interest and volume are on the 20 calls for the 16th, right? Insane and super cheap, right? So I would probably, this is probably the one that if I were interested in getting into, it would probably be this December 16th 20 call for $1, right? That's probably the one that I would get into. And this looks like, just based on looking at that contract, and the fact that the prices are about the same for all these strikes, right? Just about the same. That tells me that people aren't pumping in yet. So I mean, you might be early. So I would play the 19s for this week. I would scale into the 20s if the 19s are paying for this week, or for the 25th. And then, but if you want to just buy something and just chill, I would look into the 20s for December 16th. Right? Do they have any catalysts coming up? Most of the transactions occur. 12% float, 70 million. I don't know. I don't know if they have. Are there any like any award shows or anything coming up? That's the only thing I could think of. All right, let me look at CMCS. With this, you got to start looking at. I mean, Comcast did the same exact move, right? You got to look at Comcast got upgraded by. Okay, that's good for Para. Wait, isn't Para's Paramount, right? Yeah, so they have Paramount Plus. Okay, so what's going on with Paramount Plus? What do they have? Oh, they're on NFL. Okay, okay, so that's good for Paramount. Have a partnership with Amazon. Okay, that's good. All right, so there's some behind the scenes. They have Tulsa King, which I got a bunch of ads for yesterday.
Yellowstone, Halo.
Other things, Yellowstone. Yeah, Yellowstone. I heard is pretty good. You say Halo?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Is that based on the video game?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so that's gonna be pretty big for them. That's gonna be pretty big for them because now I want to check it out, right? So that's gonna be pretty big for them. And I have no interest in video games at all, so that's gonna be huge. All right, so let's keep it on watch. I like the 20. I like the 20 calls for December. You know, keep it simple. Don't if you want to gamble, then play this week's 19 and 20. You want some more time, but you still kind of want to gamble, play next week's 19 and 20. If you think that there's a real move in it, which there might be based on that news, I would look at the December 16th. So good stuff, Terry. Let's see what else. Do you guys have anything else? Otherwise, I'm gonna jump back into my list, and I have like 6 more. I think we left off. Jump into the top. If you guys have anything, just go ahead and. Um, the next one that I have is Shopify on the monthly. We broke above the previous month high, right? Broke above the high. We're still within the box, but we broke above the high. On the weekly, we did kind of a 3-bar play on the weekly, but more importantly, we broke above this whole range here. We're above the range, and now we're testing some of these levels here. Now, I'm worried about all of the sell pressure that happens up here. Lots of sellers. However, they were getting downgraded. They had negative earnings. There was a split. Like there was all kinds of stuff happening with Shopify. Besides the fact that it was already on a crazy downtrend, crazy downtrend, right? I think pre-split it was like 1,800 or something. So I mean, really, if you look at these numbers from 155 down to $30, it's wild, right? Wild. But what I do like about it is it went sideways for a bunch of months, and now it's starting to form new highs in these weeks, right? So I want to see it above 40.86. I'm gonna go ahead and set my alert there. Set my alert. You look at, so we have a bullish month, still in a downtrend, obviously, but bullish month, potential reversal, bullish week, bullish day, right? Broke above previous highs on a daily. Inside some of these areas where we gap. Now we're above the 50, above the 20, above the 100 day, and then we have the golden cross on the lower moving averages. So now, I mean, there's a lot of room to the 200, which is one of the main reasons why I like it. But also we got the bullish cross, and even though price pulls back, has been holding VWAP, right? So I think we were in a shop play for next week. And Lulu, I'll take a look at Lulu. I like Lulu. Lulu's actually one of my honorable mentions. Um, Whatever. Anyway, we had shop. We're in a shop play. Actually, 11-18-34 call. 11-18-34 call. So we got in at $1.07. 11-18-34 call. Got in at $1.07. That contract is currently at $5.60. So shop is fun, right? Because you can get in these cheap contracts and get a nice move, and it really pays out, right? So, congrats to anybody who's still in that play. I would probably sell it open on Monday if you haven't sold it already. So yeah, so shop is good. I think we can look at the. I mean, we got to take this out first. I think we can probably target the 44s. Maybe not for this week, maybe for next week, right? For this week, we can probably look at the 41s, 40s or the 41s for this week. 11-18, 40 call, 11, 40. And then for next week, if you want lotto, I mean, 45s are 30 cents for this week. It'll be a lotto. And that would just be like, you need like, honestly, you just need like one more green day, just one more green day, and you'll be in the money. And that 45 will go from 30 cents to $1.92. So it's not bad. Look at next week's 41, 40, 41, 42. I'll probably play the 41s. The 40s have a lot of open interest and volume. So yeah, the 40s are good. 40s and the 41. 40s and 41. Week 41. Those are the ones that I think are good for next week. Let's look at the 45 actually. And the 45s are, again, 45s will be another lotto. The 45s are super cheap for next week, right? So 51 cents average on the 45. So maybe the 45s are actually a really good lotto for next. Really good, nice, cheap, good risk reward. What I mean by risk reward is like not necessarily like, you know, not in the sense of not in the sense of like enter here. Oh, this is enter at the break of day of daily high, whatever, and then set your stop at that where it pulled back, or even you know what, give it some more room. Say your stop right here to like let's call it $38, right? Say your stop $38, and then say your take profit at the 200-day, right? That's like a decent risk reward. It's 1.2, right? A better one would be set it to like $46. Yes. Yes. I'll tell your mom. I'll tell your mom to look. I'm gonna text her right now. But just go tell her. Tell her to make me. Sorry, guys. 46 would be probably an even better risk reward ratio. And I mean, you know, right? And even if you set it at the VWAP, you get a 3-to-1 to from VWAP as your stop, your target of 46. That's a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, and that's cute or whatever, right? But what I mean by risk reward is this 45 call for next week only costs about 50 cents, right? So you take, let's say you buy 2 contracts, spend $100, buy 2 contracts. Let that play, be willing to let that play go to zero, right? 2 contracts, let it go down to zero, or not let it go down to zero, but be willing to let it go down to zero. Which means if it comes down to 30 cents, right? It comes down to 20 cents. Don't sell it at 20 cents. Hold it, and potentially, if it goes to zero, cool. If it goes to $46, right? If the price goes to $46, that means this moves up uh, uh 12 spots. This thing is gonna be like $5, from 50 cents to $5, right? That's 1,000% play. So is that 1,000% play? I don't know. Whatever. Check my math. But anyway, from 50 cents to $5, is a monster move, right? So that's what I mean by risk reward. Not necessarily this thing, not necessarily this thing, but actually like, oh, I'm spending $50, I can potentially make $500, but I have to be willing to hold it. So I like that 45 a lot. Probably just jump on it. Depending on what the market is doing, right? The market needs to, SPX needs to be, so that's shop. Next one I have is Twilio. We played Twilio last week. Twilio was another insane monster play. It went to like $9, from $1 to like $9, something stupid. So congrats if you took it. The setup for me and Jake was also looking at it was this gap fill. We've started to fill that gap, so we can continue to fill that gap, right? Now the only thing is, like, you guys see me saying the monthly's doing this and the weekly's doing this. This monthly is not bullish at all. The weekly is not bullish at all. All we have on this setup is this daily. That's all we have. All we have. So as long as it continues to hold higher highs and higher lows on the intras, right? We break above this level. We've broken above that day. If we break above yesterday's price, Friday's price, and then we continue that trend, Twilio's in play, right? Twilio can easily come back down and fall all the way down. Their business model is not as strong as it can be right now. They had a good earnings report. They beat on revenue and earnings per share, but the market didn't like it. But now it could be like, all right, that was an overreaction. Go fill that gap. Okay, so that's it. That's all we're playing, is just that one gap. Everything else looks really bad. Month is bad. Week is bad. So don't get married to it. If you like it, play it. Keep it close to the chest. Take profits when they're there. This thing paid like crazy for us. I played it for like, I've been scalping, guys. I'll be completely honest with you. I've been scalping, like trying to build my war chest back up. 20%, 30%. I'm going. I'm happy with that. Every single time that little notification bell rings, every time a position is filled, and like 30 cents, 30% or whatever the case is, I'm happy. Hell, but we're in an environment right now where you can hold some of these overnight for a continuation, and obviously that's because of the market, SPX, SPY, right? But this is for example, one of those that really pays, right? So keep it on your watch list if you like it. The 60 call for this week has a lot of open interest and volume, more than anything else, except for the ones that are in the money, obviously. The 60 call, I would call it a lotto, but not that bad. They're really just playing that gap. So 11, 18. I like the 57s. Oops. I like the 57s. I like the 60s. I even like the 56 a lot. It can get in the money pretty much out open. Right? If you want to smash one of them, it will probably be this one. Get a green day. Smash that 56. You can take the 57 or you can take the 60 can go with a $2 move, the 60 already goes 100. $2 move, 60 goes 100. And then if you want to play next week, and then we'll look at Lulu after next week. Next week, maybe the 60 call as well. Dollar, right? Next week, 60 call. Not a lot of open interest, obviously, because people are not looking at next week. They're looking, but next week, 60 call will be. OPEX is this week. Options expiration. All right. Yeah, OPEX is this week. So typically OPEX, monthly OPEX, Fridays or that week is typically can be read, but let's keep it in mind. Options expiration. Let's just keep that in mind before we get too bullish. We might go flat for the week because OPEX. We might go red. We might go green for the week. Who knows? But just know that we have OPEX. Let's look at Lulu. Look at this candle on Lulu. Before I click on so you guys know that I know what the hell I'm talking about. Look at this daily. So this is the reason why it's on my honorable mention. Let me just quick. Yeah, this is why it's on my honorable mention. So Lulu meets the criteria. It broke out on the monthly, making new highs. Broke out on the weekly, making new highs. Right, we're testing some of these levels. I have this pivot up here, 391, 30. And then the daily, we obviously gapped up, broke out of this consolidation, broke this pivot here. We're above the 200, we're above all that stuff. We got the golden cross, right? 50 crossing the 200, which is great. All good stuff. Now, the only thing I don't like about Lulu, there's two things I don't like about Lulu. The first thing I don't like about Lulu is you see how we gapped up on this day. Wednesday to Thursday, gapped up on CPI, and then kind of pulled back and then made a new high at the end of the day. And then continued to move up, pulled back, and then failed VWAP. And then a bunch of all the volume came in that was higher than all the volume that you see on this 1 hour chart, right? Except for like this day. All the volume that came in for the week came in on that last candlestick, that last 1 hour candlestick that spread. And it didn't kill us or tank us, but I would have rather liked to see this above the VWAP. I don't want to see all these sellers step in, right? I'll be honest with you. I've traded Lulu like once. And the one thing I don't love about Lulu, the other thing that I don't love about it, besides the fact that we have all this sell pressure here and all this sell pressure here, and at the end of the day, especially, is that I find that Lulu's contracts are not most liquid. And so they're very, very hard to kind of find a decent play. Right. And then the other thing is like I like to play as close to the money as possible if it's not SPX. I don't want to spend $9 for this. I can spend $9 on SPX, right? Now the good thing though is like, for example, let's look at this day, Thursday. Went from a low of 338 to a high of 354. That's a 16-point day. It's a $16 day, right? So what that means is the 375s can go in the money tomorrow if they want, right? The 370s can go in deep in the money if they wanted. These 360s can go deep in the money if they wanted to, double up, go to 100 if they want, right? So that's good. I mean, I don't like to. I want to be close. I don't like to spend this kind of money being this close. I'd rather spend $300, $500, $400. That being said, looking at it now, the spreads are not terrible. I mean, there's a 35-cent spread on this, 35, 40-cent spread on this, 30-cent spread on that, 40-cent spread on that, 50-cent spread on that. I mean, yeah, listen, with this, you got to be patient, set your fill. Don't just smash market because you're going to get a disgusting fill on this. I would probably like the 375s are probably one of the better looking here. 370s are the best looking for this week. I would set my fill at like 460, 465, maybe, and then just be super patient. Let me look at let's look at the 370. I want to see how they. Yeah. Yep. Even on 30-minute, like look at how this thing moves. So this is a 3-day 30-minute chart for the 370. Right now, I mean, it moves nicely. Like 47 cents to 8.95 in 3 days. 2 days. What is it? November 9th, November 11th. 2 days, and you made a crazy. That's like a 2,000% play, right? Insane. But the thing I don't like about it is, look at these gaps. Look at this big ass gap. Huge gap, right, between these contracts. Huge gaps in contracts. This thing closed at, it went from a high of 5.2, and over here it went to a low of 5.74. Like 50, there's a whole 50 cents of price action missing here, right? Like I don't love that. I don't love the illiquidity of it. This is not bad. That being said, this is not bad. I mean, really it has to. And now another thing you could do is run technical analysis on the contract chart itself, right? Like we have resistance kind of right here at 247. So if price comes back down to 247 and you see buyers step in, then you can buy it. Then maybe it does the same thing, right? Lulu's tough to play, man. It's so illiquid that it just makes it very difficult to play. I would play the 370s or 375s for this week. 370s or 375s for this week. Even the 380s, right? Keep it simple. Play one of those, and let it just fill that wick up, right? Let it just fill this wick up. That's all you want to. Not have to do anything more than. I do like the Golden Cross. 370.
Are we allowed to talk?
Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say, like, I trade Lululemon a lot. You're right. There's a big spread on the options, but it's also like you said, if you sit low and you let it fill, it does always fill, and I never have a problem selling at the higher amount.
You usually get good fills with patience.
I've never had a hard time selling, and when it does run, the options like they just run so fast up.
Yeah. That's the good thing about those gaps, like this, like these contract gaps. You get really good movement out of the contract without having to do much. Like you buy it and like the stock moves up 10, 20 cents and the contracts go crazy. So yeah, I mean,
but what you're saying is kind of risky when you see that much spread, but like I have got another one, not Lulu for some reason. It just seems to fluctuate enough that they always fill.
Yeah, I think the biggest, the filling is not bad when you're selling. I think just if anyone's buying this, just be patient with your buy. That's it. As long as you're patient with, because something like this, and you can probably speak to this, but something like this, you get like a nice a patient fill, and then you're immediately up like 30% or something. Right as soon as you filled, like it's you get lucky like that.
Like you'll see Lululemon sit there, and then bam, all of a sudden it goes up like 50% right now.
Yeah, yeah. So, and again, this is one of the ones that I was looking at. I just don't love. I know how to trade wide spreads. I don't think everyone, like some people just smash market to get in. Some people just like, I know one of my good friends, when he trades, he's like, I don't care what it costs. I just want to get in, and I want to get in on the momentum. And I know that that style doesn't work well for something like this. Like, you need to be patient.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But
Thank
otherwise,
you.
yeah, no, for sure. And otherwise, it looks great. I mean, again, look at it. I mean, it's breaking out on multiple time frames. We got the golden cross, um, and that's it. Just if you guys want to play this, go ahead and like the 370s, 375s, 380s, and just be patient with it. And this can turn out to be a monster for you, right? Especially if you catch it on a day like this, and not so much on the days where it's inside of a monster play. So thanks for pointing it out, Jennifer. Let's see. I have like 5 more to go through. Let me just quickly go through them. XOM. So XOM, we played on Friday. XOM paid nicely for us on Friday. XOM is currently at all-time high right now. Right. So broke above the previous month range, broke above the previous week range. The daily we on a daily we kind of fell down last week, and then bounced off the 20-day, and then are right back up at previous resistance. So I want to see it hold this previous resistance here at 113.87, where buyers couldn't bring it above until this day, and then again this day. I want to see it hold this area to try to retest at 114.64. And then if this thing goes, it can really explode, right? It can really explode up. So, and then the only thing they have is they have a dividend payout tomorrow. So I would just watch out for that, see how that affects the stock. Usually, it brings the price down a little bit, but I don't think it will with XOM. I have a kind of a feeling it won't. I play the 115s, 116s. 11, 18, 115 call. If you're gonna get into the 117s or the 116s, I would go ahead and hold it for the entire week. Even the 115s, buy a bunch and then keep one runner for the whole week. And one thing I noticed, and I was thinking about it on Friday after we got into the play, is that Fridays are usually good for energy for whatever reason. They're either usually really good or really bad, which means you can play calls or you can play puts. You usually always get paid on a Friday, and for whatever reason. I like XOM. I like it to the upside. I like it to continue to the upside. If it does reject, I want to see it hold this 20-day. And that's it. Very simple. Let's just quickly switch to XLE, because XLE is one of the ones that I had a sector that's moving. XLE is sitting near all-time high. We do have this potential inverse head and shoulders forming here on the week, on the month rather. That's interesting. We're looking to break yearly highs. Ready? Yeah, we did break. We broke yearly highs last week. So we can continue to move, right? Good momentum. Obviously, it consolidated a bunch. It pulled back from when it went on the crazy run of made a nice move. If anyone is inside of our XLE leaps that I called, when it was maybe in like June or something, in July. Our XLE leaps are currently up. I have one contract left. It's up 340 buyers December 30th. So I'm gonna hold it, see what it does. Now, right now it's in the money. When did I get it? So I like it to the upside. Another sector I like is XLF. XLF broke the monthly high, testing the previous pivot. Broke weekly high. Right, we made a new high week. We're testing these 2 weeks. Gapping on a daily above the 200. We got golden crosses, all kinds of stuff. So another good sector to look at. Moving from financials into Blackstone, right? That's the pivot. Went from from XOM to XLE, Blackstone. Blackstone. You can do your due diligence on Blackstone. A financial service. They're basically an investment, publicly traded firm, right? Big move on the monthly. We had it kind of we did come below this low, but I would still call this an inside bar because the body broke above previous 2 months high. Now we're targeting this month August high, right here. And I ran a fib from the beginning of this impulse move here, top. It pulled back to 38.2%, which is a good level for longer term. Like the longer term, the further it pulls back on long term, the better, right? Because it's like slow pullback. Maybe we can get the move now, but it's breaking the downtrend. It's all kinds of good. Monthly's good, weekly's good, just all kinds of good, right? This ticker, I played it. I started playing it back here. I sold it like, I remember like selling it like in January, and we had like I think 75 calls. So it went like 300% or something crazy. But I think the contract that we were in were like June contracts, and look what it did for the rest of the year. It went absolutely insane. So I'm seeing, and then if you flatten this a little bit, it makes a little bit more sense. Got this move, then you have a retracement. Now you have maybe potentially a retest. That's what I'm looking for. Good volume on CPI. I want to know what their holdings are. I haven't really studied their holdings this year, so I don't know what their holdings are for this year. But I always like playing this. Every time I play it, I usually get like a nice turn over 100. So I think it's ready for another potential good contracts. Load up. November 18th, 110 calls, about $2. This can easily go in the money very, very nicely. I would play the 110 calls off. Calls. And then I learned my lesson with BX. Buy time. Buy time. 115s. 115s for next. Hella. All right, so we have the 115s. And I'm going to go ahead and look at December's. December's 115s and 120s. So close. Twelve, 16, 115 calls. Is that what I was looking at? Yeah, 115 and 125. The 12, 16, 115 call, you treat that as an investment, right? You treat this one as an investment. And what I mean by that, and really, you should be treating every single position as an investment, which is why I hate how much, I'm just going to be very honest with you all. I hate how often I play weeklies. I'm 100% love to play contracts that I can hold for more than a week, 4 days, 6 days, 10 days, 3 weeks. That's my bread and butter. Like that's where I learned. That's where my piece is. That's what my personality is. Like so. I've just again been scalping weeklies for the past, like, obviously in this market you kind of have to in order to survive. And it's a great skill to have, especially for smaller accounts. The smaller your account is, the faster you should be out of a trade. Right? Even if it runs 1,000% and you have to sell it at 30%, that's fine. The smaller your account, the faster you should be in and out of a trade. As your account grows, you can spend more time in a trade. You can increase the large accounts. You can buy and hold it forever, right? So, that being said, the December 16th 115 call is something that I would treat as an investment. BX 211. The 115 call, you treat it as an investment. Like, I see that it kind of ran up, pulled back, Big gaps also, just like Lulu. Worse than Lulu, I would say, actually. This thing, like, you have to really have patience. But big gaps. Right now, it looks like it's flagging. I need TradingView to get it together and bring me some contract art. I love you think swim, but right, you have that. I want it to kind of come back to like this level. I'm gonna put it here, like a median level between this and this, right? I want it to come back to like two something. If it like if VX puts in one red day, it pulls back to that 200 day, right? Which is just pulling back from here to here, right? Just from here to here. This contract's gonna dive down to like 250, and then when buyers step in at the 200 day, this thing's gonna rocket to 4, right? So let me just look. We haven't been above the 200 day in a long time. Last time was April, right? Back to April. Um, so this one is one that you buy. You spend $300, 350, 400, whatever it is that you spend on it, and you hold it for 3 or 4 weeks, and then and then from there you can expect that it's going to give you a reasonable return, 40%, 50%, right, 60%. I call it an investment more than a gamble because anything that's weekly is gamble. Weekly 11.18, even 11.25, you're buying momentum. You're trading the momentum with the way it's not, and that's not really not the proper way to invest. Do I have the TOS app downloaded? Yes, I do. I do have the Thinkorswim app downloaded, and I trade. Sometimes I trade SPX on. I usually use this to trade SPX. The reason why is because I use Active Trader for SPX sometimes, or sometimes I buy on the chart itself. Like I'll click here, I'll click buy, right, and I buy on the chart itself. I find that TOS desktop it's great. However, for some reason I can't get, even with like the optimized settings that you find in the TOS setup channel, I can't get better fills than I do here on this for some reason. Active Trader for some reason on SPX has been really bad lately. So I've been like manually buying and selling everything. And yeah, charting is much better on desktop than it is on web. Web is really terrible. Web is good for like having speed, right? Quickly going through contracts and switching through and going through like just fast. And also web is very lightweight. For whatever reason, I optimize my settings on TOS and I can't get it to run nicely on my computer at work, which is where I trade. So you'll see me I'll do all my charting on TradingView, and then I'll switch. I'll have like I have two screens at work. It'll be one has this, one has this, and I'll just be doing it that way. I do miss Thinkorswim desktop. I haven't been able to get it to work properly at work. Maybe I gotta spend more time. Maybe I gotta change the setting. It's an M2, an M1 laptop, so maybe there's some settings going on with that. But yeah, it is a much better experience on desktop. But I don't think anything beats TradingView personally for charting. So the next one I have is TGT. I like that BX. So if you see me call it by TGT broke up above the monthly high. We're still inside this September's range. I have Thinkorswim on this computer that I'm on now, but still charting is so much smoother, faster. So I need to get. We're still inside the range of the month of December. We broke up below it a little bit here, but I don't really. And now we broke the previous range of last month, and now we're working our way up the box. So we're targeting. So I like it on the week. I like it on the monthly. I like it on the weekly. I need it above this pivot though to test that pivot, right? So above 176, 83. All the moving averages on the daily are all right next to each other, which I love. I mean, that just shows consolidation, right? That's all that is, consolidation. Described by moving. And then you got that wedge there. got that and that. So we've broken out above the trend, and now we're trying to test some of these higher levels. Got to take this pivot out. We filled this gap. Yeah, we filled it. We filled it to the so fill the gap. Have all the moving averages consolidated, which is lovely. Yeah, weekly TTM squeeze. Yep, TTM squeeze. When it fires and gets volatile, it's gonna really go, and it looks like it's gonna go to. I love that. Love that. First target is gonna be this 175.96. So let's just call it 176. Next target is gonna be a 200 day, which is gonna be around 80. Above that, 184. TGT. Just turning. So November 18th. These are expensive. November 18th, 180s and 180, 180, 182, 50, and 185. That's 5. These are the ones I'm watching for this week. I wouldn't even go into the following week because look how expensive. But yeah, these 180s are good. 180s are good. That it'll probably meet the 200 day there. Mess around with it for a little bit and they'll come down or go. So I would probably just stick with the 180s, maybe the 182s, and sell it right into resistance. Now, if we do break out on the weekly, we take out this pivot right here, and we take out the monthly pivot, we can go easily to 200, right? Especially after all this consolidation, we can easily go to 200 just right here, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to do it right away. Might take months. January 200 is $3.10. Oh man, that's like almost that's a no-brainer. January 20. January 20 of 300. $3. $3. I might just jump into that immediately. Another reason why I like Target for January because it has the seasonality towards the end of the year. Target is like just like Costco. Where do you go when you want to spend money, but you don't want to spend too much? You're going to Target, and you end up spending more, buying more than you need. But interesting. Well, I don't know. I figured it would be higher, but Target seasonality is kind of highest in July, I guess, right for back to school. And then its second highest month is October, and then it kind of slows down for the rest of the year, which is interesting. I feel like that's not the case. I feel like that I don't know. We'll see. But I like this 200 call for January a lot. That can really pay, right? Because if it goes in the money in a couple of weeks, we go from 3 to like 9, right? In a couple of weeks, so nice peaceful trade. So I think that's what I'll be watching on Target. So that's it, guys. I don't have anything else. Let me just see the honorable mention real quick. Again, we had Lulu, which we discussed, right? We discussed Lulu. Your contracts are there. I have UPS. UPS. So now I called out a UPS trade on Friday. Right? Called out a UPS trade on Friday. It yeah, I called out UPS on Friday, and the reason why I liked it is because it's same thing, higher month, broke out on the weekly, right? And this was actually looking very bull flaggy. It was looking extremely bull flaggy on the weekly, but then last week it just validated. And then we broke through the 50-day and through all this stuff last week. We're targeting the 100-day personally, my personal target with PS. The reason why is, I don't know. There's a reason why I didn't love it for I can't figure it out. But anyway, it looks not bad, right? We have this range right here. We can get above that range and fill this gap. We got the 100-day to test. We got the 100-day in the gap. Those are the two pieces that we got to. I don't know why this is not. I'm not sure. There's a reason. I'll get back to you. The next one is Lowe's. Lowe's is just, I think I haven't quite found the way to trade it yet. Very expensive for a $200 stock. It's extremely expensive. Just like Target, it's like very weird. But we broke above the high, the monthly high, targeting this monthly high and this high. We're still within this range, which is why I think it's on honorable mention, because I don't love it. We're still inside the range, and we're kind of forming a bullish, a rising wedge, which is not bullish, right? Kind of a rising wedge vibe here. I'm not in love with it, because what happens is it breaks to the downside. So, but I'm gonna keep it on watch. It's above all of its moving averages, especially above the 200, which is the last time we had that was in March. So that's why it's kind of honorable mention. I'm gonna keep watching it to see what it does. Next one is TSM. TSM went pretty nuts last week. It just it broke up above the 20-day and just kind of went pretty nutty. The reason why I'm not in love with it yet, and again, this is like personal preference. But we're still inside the range of last month. We're looking to test it. It can pull back pretty hard here, or it can just break and go insane. Based on what LRCX, AMD, Nvidia, Marvell, right? Based on what that whole sector is doing, TSM can continue to move. I just want to see it above that level first. But you can get in early. I know a bunch of people made money on TSM last week based on what I saw online. And then they have. This is probably a good reaction off of earnings. Good double bottom on the daily, the bottom of the range, bounce. So I want to see it above this, right? Because we were here before in the past. Previous support turned into resistance, came down, double bottom. Do we form another? What do we do here, right? So I'll be watching it. I want to see it break above that high, so we can have that multi-time frame continuity. But we don't have it yet, so. But it's good, right? It might be ready tomorrow, right? So next one's Macy's. I have like just 3 more. Macy's, same thing, inside month, right? Inside the range of last month. So I want to see it above. The hammer is an actionable signal, but I still want to see it above that range, that high right there. The last time we were at these 2 highs, this high we rejected. So I want to see it get above it. Good consolidation, nice flag though. Bunch of buyers. On the weekly, double bottom, falling wedge breakout, whatever it is however it is that this team is bullish. Right, the downtrend break, falling wedge breakout, flat here. Other reason why Macy's has been disappointing me. I haven't been really in tune with it as I have in the past, but it's right underneath the 200-day where it rejected a bunch of days, 1, 2, 3 days of rejection on the 200-day. I want to see what it does in the next couple of days. It opened up above it and then it flushed down underneath it at the end of the day. Sorry, it opened, broke through it in the middle of the day, and then flushed underneath at the end. So if we can reclaim that 200, that'll be a very, very key spot for Macy's. Also, Macy's going into the holiday season has good seasonality based on shopping. So my brother. So yeah, right. So maybe there's something something there for January. January, and then I mean, obviously it's super duper cheap. January 22 calls $1.75. I mean, if we break out above that 200, we can come back to this 24 level. That'll put us 4 spots. Put us at $4. So not bad, not bad. But it's not ready yet. I want to see what it does at the 200. So I'm gonna watch for the 200. Next one I have is Ford. Ford, we broke up above high of last month. We're still within the range of the previous. They are still here. This is where I don't still in a consolidating pattern, and we're just at the 200, right? So there's a few things that I need to happen. I need this to, I need this to break out on the weekly, which might be kind of a late move, right? And that's fine. I'm fine with it. I used to be like, oh no, I want to be the first one. I want to anticipate it, be there before the breakout. That's very dangerous, right? Let it break. Fine if it breaks out. Fine if it breaks out. You can kind of let it go sideways, and then we can. Last time it was at the 200, it rejected, and it broke trend. Now it's at the 200, it's rejecting a little bit. So let's see what it does. Right? If it breaks and it holds at 200, then I might be interested in like the 16 calls. And and I personally would buy plenty of time on for contract by a year. Excuse me, you could buy a year out. Whatever. January, 80 cents for $15. January for 2025. June 15 call for 2024. Over a year out, 18 months out, we got $2.80, $2.85, right? January 2025, $15 calls are between $3.20 and $3.45, $3.30. You could buy these and buy these and delete your, come back to it, right? 15 call, like that's insane. So I know that Spider Boy is in. He's got some Ford. He's in June. He might be in like June 13 calls or something like that. He's up on that. But yeah, that's Ford. I want to see it about the 200 day. It can change trend. Overall downtrend. I have two more. GM, just in line with Ford. GM, we called it out last week. Last week, Friday, it went in the money at the very end of the week. So, I mean, we broke even. You held it. Otherwise, if you sold it anytime before Friday, then probably sold that broke even on Friday. But we broke above the monthly, still in the range of the previous month, similar to Ford. Pretty much same exact setup here. Triangle. I want to see a break above this week's high, 42.45, 42, whatever this, 36. Break above that, test this previous month high, or this pivot here, and test this high here, right? So break above this area here where we rejected a bunch, and then we can come back and test. It's above the 200 day, and we got the bullish cross on the 20, right? So it looks good. Good volume coming through the breakout. GM might be leading Ford, might be the leading indicator for Ford. I just want to see it above this level here before I don't want to anticipate that it's going to move crazy. I want to see it actually do it, right? And same thing with GM. GM is very cheap. Buy out. Look at December. Yeah, December 42 calls $1.70 average. Not bad. January 45s are $1.40. Right? June of next year, 45 calls are $3.85. So not bad. I want to see it above the 200. I want to see it above, sorry, this pivot here. This pivot here. I want to see it out of this range. Out of all I want. You could play, you could also scalp or swing within the range too, whatever you want. But I don't have that. I don't have the brain power. Last one I have is BBY. My bad. Sorry, Best Buy. Best Buy. Best Buy broke above the previous month high, inside the previous range. Same exact setup as all the rest of them. What I like about this is, I mean, we do have this pivot here, major pivot, and have this kind of head and shoulders, head, shoulder here, breakdown, right? I want to see it above that, and we have the 200. What I like about it is all the space between now and the with earnings in a couple. That's it. That's what I have, guys. I don't have anything else. If you guys want to look at anything else, just let me know. I gotta take a break. Go get some of that tasty coffee. Yeah, and again, once again, let me just go back to SPX. I know some people jumped on after I did it. It really depends on what the market does. I mean, everything I have is leaning bullish. You know, the CPI print was really, really good for us. You know, now the one thing, if you look at the monthly, this is the first time, and so far, right? And we're just in like halfway through November, but this is the first time where we've had two back-to-back green months this year so far, right? We had it this month and we failed on August, right? August, we put in a green start of the month and then we failed towards the end of the month, right? Whereas July, August, right? Green beginning of the month, we fell hard because we hit the top of that broadening formation. So far, we're starting with a green month, right? We had a red end of October, which was very nice because it brings us back to the median. Big bullish move at the beginning of November so far, right? Big bullish move. Actually, this was the first week of November. That's good. It reverted to the mean the first week of November, and then it continued the upside move second week of November. Right? I'd rather that than go up, and then hit a wall and come down. I'd rather pull back, save some energy, right? Charge his batteries, and then start making a move. So we have this. We have 4,100, which is the next major level to break, and then we're gonna have that resistance line, right? So we have 1 week where we can hit that. We can just hit both in 1 week, and then we have another week where we can come back down. Even if we fall down that following week, we still form the green. We will still form a green month, right? 2 back-to-back green months. So, you know, unless like something happens and then we fall crazy, you know, maybe they say Ukraine and Russia are gonna finally settle their differences, and then the market dies for some reason, right? But so far, this is a good sign for us, at least going into the end of the year, right? Because we can easily do this. We can easily come down, rally into December, break out of this falling broadening formation, and then February come back down, right? And then March tank us, right? March OPEX is typically one of the worst, so that can easily happen. But for right now, I'm bullish on it. I'm not gonna fight the direction of it. We've retraced to about 3.82% or 38.2% fib. So we retraced 61.8. So it's a good spot to pull back. I think we're gonna continue to go up based on Santa Claus rally, quote unquote, right? Try to test this level here, break through this level, then we have 2 back-to-back green months. We can probably turn into 3 back-to-back green months, and then from there continue with the bear market. That's what I see on it so far. I'm not trying to predict what's gonna happen. It's just, you know, we take a day at a time. A lot of the calls that a lot of the plays that I set up I think the ones that are the safest, regardless of what the market is doing, is Costco. I think Starbucks is in a good place, right? Because look at how Starbucks looks versus how SPX looks. Starbucks is pointing up, SPX is still pointing down, right? What else? Cat is in a good place. Shop was one of them. Yeah, Shop. Although Shop is like done, done with his downtrend. Been downtrending before SPY has. Right. There's a few of these that PX is dealing. There's a bunch of these that are like looking really strong relative to the market, and will move regardless of what the market does. Keep your eyes on those. Some of the other ones are tied to the market, such as JP Morgan, XLF. All the XLF XLEs are pretty tied to the market. Although XLE has been very strong. So, yeah, that's it, guys. That's what I have for you guys. Last week I did a good job at keeping the plays. 90% of the plays were things that we've discussed on last week's watch list call. I'm gonna keep the same energy and do the same thing for this week, right? I'm gonna keep plays that we've already done the homework, right? You guys can go back and watch this video once it's published, right? You might, maybe some of you are taking notes as I'm discussing some of these tickers, right? Maybe some of these tickers are already on your watch list before this call. We've already done our homework. So when you see the call, you don't have to think about it anymore. Right? You know which contract you want to get into. Maybe you don't want to get into the 115. Maybe you want to get into the 120s. Maybe you want to get into the 110s, right? So you guys have already done your homework, right? You've already done your homework, so you know where you're gonna land at. And I like it better this way than like, oh, we've been talking about Target and Walmart and Costco on the Sunday call, but we're calling Apple and we're calling all these other things, right? During the week. So, and that happens sometimes, right? That happens sometimes. Like if there's an opportunity to make money, we're gonna make money. I'm not gonna stop us from making money, but I'd rather have us make some money during, after we've done homework instead. Oh, you know what? We've looked at these. This is why it looks like it's set up to run. It looks like it's gonna run. We've already discussed it. I already know the contract. I have it favorited. I have it on my post-it. I have it on my whiteboard. I have it on my Robinhood watch list. Whatever, right? Like you already know the vibe. So once you see the call out, it's like, all right, boom. I could just hit. I don't even have to think about it. Pull the trigger. So, and the other reason why I do this is so that you guys can have more confidence in your own ability to find plays, right? So that's the ultimate goal, is for everybody to be self-sufficient. For those of us that have kids or want to have kids or have younger siblings or have just younger people that we want to mentor, this is a good skill to pass on to, right? Like my daughter comes in and sees candlesticks. She's like, why are your candlesticks red and black? They used to be green and black, green and red or whatever. She knows what they are. She knows. I want her to get involved so she can learn this skill and decide whether she wants to do this full time or if she wants to go work a job like her poor old dad. Right? So this is bigger than us. Although I'll tell you what, I'm trying to get rich using options. So I know that many of us are maybe it's a hobby, whatever it is, right? But this is a mechanism to make lots of money, change our lives. So whatever I can do to help you all do that, put you in the right direction, keep you there, be my pleasure. Right? So that's that, guys. Have a good Sunday. Enjoy the weather. It looks like it's nice out today in New York City. I'm gonna go have some of that coffee that smells so good, and I'll see you guys in the hotline later, in the trade floor later. I think Frank might be on tonight, so maybe I'll jump in for that if I get home on time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, if anything. All right. Thank you guys for being part of this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time. Take care.